What's up there guys, it's Mac, hope you guys are well. Today I have my Snes Mini with me, and I just want to quickly just do a quick showcase of the mod that I put on it. And it's actually an Hakchi mod, so it allows different systems to be on the same console at the same time. And I've literally been working on this for a couple of weeks now. I meant to do a small modification, but by just amending a few games and adding a few games was things I remember really, but I got a bit carried away, and when I found out how easy it was, I started doing it, and I just got a bit addicted to it. It was very fun doing it. I do recommend you guys modify it and put your ROMs onto it, the ones that you remember playing it from your childhood. It's very simple to do once you get the hang of it, and use this one program, the same one for the NES Classics. I used it for the SNES Classic, and it's a very powerful system. I think I put on about 200 plus games on here now, and I have at least about I think it's about 8 systems on here. So I'm going to just showcase it today in this video, because I've just been really excited to play it, and it's been really fun. And I've tinkered a lot with it, and I finally found the correct set of games and sort of like setup that I prefer. Now I'm going to be using my 8-bit DOE SM30 Pro. SM30 Pro, yeah. This is the 8-bit DOE SNES wireless Bluetooth controller that works for the Switch as well, and I think other devices that connect with Bluetooth, so Android phones and stuff like that. And I've got the little dongle here as well. This is the 8-bit DOE SNES Classic wireless dongle, and designed for the SNES and the NES now. And I basically put that in, and I can work wirelessly. So that's how I like to play my SNES Mini. You've also got the option via this hack to come out of games as well. So when you go into a game, you just press down minus button, and you go back to the main menu. So it's really cool. Anyway guys, I'm going to quickly just run through the modifications that I've done, and the reasons why I've done a specific amount of why I tinkered with it so much. Seriously guys, I have an OCD with it when it comes to making sure that everything's just right, and I had the right set amount of games on there, but then I had to tinker with it, because every time I thought I was done with it, there was a few games that I missed out from my childhood, and there was a few games that I knew that I had to be in here to complete the full set. So things like the new Castlevania set came out, and I had to get all the Castlevanias on there. Things like, obviously 1, 2 and 3 of any sort of trilogy of any games. I need to sort of get them all in linear order. I can't have just 2 or 3 by itself. It looks a bit odd to me. Anyway guys, so first of all, I just want to quickly just show, we've got the Super Nintendo over here, got the Sega Mega Drive 32x, got the Mega Drive, also known as the Genesis in America, got the Game Boy Color and DMG model. I'll put them both together there, and I got the Game Boy Advance, and I've got Sega Master System 2, a close one for me, because this is the one that was my first console pretty much growing up, so really put all of my classics that I remember playing on there. Got the Sega Game Gear as well, got the Virtual Boy and the NES. So the reason why I put these systems in here is because I basically, what I did was that I worked my way through each system, and I calculated from websites of the top best 20, best 10 games on that list, and then I looked through that list, and then I added in games that I personally remember and that are nostalgic to me. I added games from that list of the top 10 and top 15, the ones that I would play, and things that genres that I prefer. So obviously I took out a few genres. I took out a lot of the RPGs, because RPGs is not really my thing. So I put in a lot of like shooters, platformers. That's my favorite sort of genre, and first-person shooter type games. And also I kept it to all the games that do not require any sort of BIOSes to be installed. Now the Game Boy Advance does have a BIOS that you can install to sort of make the sound a bit better, but it does work without it as well. All of these work without any sort of more BIOSes. That's why I sort of put them in there, and I didn't want to go any further than that. I was going to put in the PC Engine as well, TurboGrafx 16, but unfortunately that required a BIOS as well, so I didn't do it. So then we'll just quickly go into the SNES and just have a look at put the music up. So You can see Addams Family, brilliant game. I had to put them in, all three of them. The Pugsy's Revenge was Pugsy's Scavenger Hunt was the one that I played growing up. That was one with the kid, the boy, and in this one, the Addams Family, it was actually the dad that plays in the game. So, and this is the very first one, so I thought I'll put that all three together. Aladdin classic. This could be really just a showcase of the actual Snes Mini. If you're looking for a modification video, do let me know in the comments below, and I could obviously look to do that. But this is just basically a showcase because I've spent 2 weeks on this and I've tinkered with it. I've added in, I've gone back into it and I've changed names, things like, you know, like the 2 players signs. If it's in 2 player in gold, that means you can play 2 players at the same time. And also you got 2 players which are without the gold bit, just white, which basically means you can play 2 players but you take turns. And then you also got the 1 player mode. So I had to go and amend that for not the SNES games but for the MOS, the Mega Drive and stuff like that, Game Advance, because they require the amendments to be done, whereas on the SNES I think it picks it up by itself, so you don't need to tinker with that. I had to tinker with that. I put in a bunch of games that I know that will complete the set. So I got in Dracula X, this is Castlevania. I looked through all the Castlevania lists because obviously it came out recently on the anthology for the Switch, the collection, and I was like, I need to put these games together and get all of them together because I can't just have a few of them. So I looked through the list that I've got, all the classics, and I put all the classic ones from the NES, put the classic ones from the SNES. Obviously it had Castlevania, Super Castlevania already on here, so I thought I'll put that one in here to sort of complete it. And I also put in Rondo Blood as well and put the American cover art with the Japanese box art, so it sort of finishes it off. Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, added that into the original one. By the way, this modification can be reverted back to the classic setup at any stage, so you can obviously unmodify it and put it back to how it was very easily. So you don't really need, it doesn't really affect it. So I'll put in Final Fight 2, 3 and Final Fight Guy Edition because I've got Final Fight 1 on multiple platforms, so I've got it on the Switch and stuff, so I don't really need to put that one in. And besides, these are 2 players apart from the Final Fight Guy, and Final Fight Guy is one that I didn't really have growing up, but I did have Final Fight Original, so I thought let me keep it 2 and 3 because they're 2 players. Final Fight Guy was the newer version, and the Cody one, I've obviously got that on the Switch, the arcade edition, which allows 2 players, so that's better for me. Put the Jungle Book in, Killer Instinct, definitely played that growing up. Yeah, just a bunch of really cool games here. Unlocked the Star Fox 2, here's Castlevania. I put in Super Mario All-Stars and Super Mario World. That was one of the games that I had growing up. Yeah, definitely enjoyed playing that. And yeah, just basically put a bunch of games that I know are brilliant and also really hard to get a hold of, and stupid prices at the moment if you want to buy them physically as well. Super Turrican, these are games I want to play. Got Turtles, you know, like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, plenty of games here that I know I can get my sink my teeth into and start playing. And I just wanted a really good system, a way I can actually play these on my new TV, on my 4K TV, without having to have modifications done on all these PAL systems. And these are all the classic PAL systems. I got the 16-bit and 8-bit, as well as the handheld games that came out during that time. So I've got the 16-bit Super Nintendo, got the Mega Drive, got the Sega32x, which is the updated model of Mega Drive. I got Sega Mega Drive 32x, Genesis 32x and Super 32x. Put all the names in here. This is how far my OCD goes, guys. I had to basically make sure that the actual titles are right. I modified all the pictures as well. I put in my own custom art because the ones that they had within the Hakchi2 program was just pixelated pictures of the consoles. So I put in one picture at a time, and then I realized that I had to make them more symmetrical. They all had to be white with a white background. They had to be good pictures. I had to find them, amend them. And trust me, it's quite hard to find pictures, you know, of some of these systems because they tend to be all like eBay pictures of like with backgrounds with people holding it and stuff like that. So it was quite hard to find it. Putting Game Boy and Game Boy Color together, original Game Boys, and these are the games that I played growing up, as well as some additional ones like the Castlevanias. I put them in there, and I amended the box art as well on some of these to add the color bit. I know. Donkey Kong Land 2, putting the 2 Zeldas that I'm gonna eventually play. Now, some of these Pokemon games, obviously Pokemon Blue is the one that I grew up playing with, but what I've done here is that these are Pokemon Blue, I put the DX in it. There's a Gen 2 graphics as well, so they've actually added the graphics of Gen 2 in the actual artwork and stuff like that. So as you can see, it's in color, and you can literally just, it's Pokemon Blue but with a color hack, so it looks freaking brilliant. And the way they've actually amended the Pokemon is that you can actually we wanted to get into a battle quickly. I forgot this old manual. Let me go up this way. All right, let me quickly just come down here. So they've actually done a color hack, and I found these patches and I had to do the whole patch thing. I wanted to get it set up so that it's just simple to play with, or I can pick up the Snes controller. It's got all the buttons I need and I could just play. So it's got Gen 2 graphics, so you can see that the players, and there's also a health bar for experience as well. So as you go up, the experience bar is there. These are the Gen 2 sprites. So the colors and the full color is from obviously a hack, full Game Boy Color hack, as well as the new sort of artwork, so for the Pokemon and stuff like that. So the sprites and obviously the health bar, and I think it's the, what you call it, the actual the experience bar, and they've added that into it, so it's really cool. They've got that for both of those. I'm putting the little color sign there in the box art, and then I uploaded that picture. So some of these I found the picture directly from the internet. You just pull it through on the Hakchi2 program, but others I had to amend it and then manually upload it, because I wanted it to have things like obviously the color but original box art. These are one of the really two games that really started it all off. Super Mario Land 6 Golden Coins and Super Mario Land 1. Basically what happened was that, as you can see, these say Game Boy Color, and this is Super Mario Land DX and Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins DX. Now, as you both know, these games were not released. These games weren't released in color. They were released for the original Game Boy, but as you can see, this is a full color hack, and actually says DX as well. And what I did was that I just basically found the colored version of it. If it required a patch, I patched the original game, and then I put it in, and then that's it. It runs. It's just brilliant the way it runs. And I've never played this game in this type of color before, and it was just so much fun trying to play the classic Mario again in full color. I loved this game. It's one of the classic games, and this was pretty much what started off this entire hacking process. I had this console with me, right? I had the Snes Mini for over a year. I think I bought it on release, and it came out in September 2017. So it's been a long time since I've actually had this in my possession, and I've always avoided hacking it because I didn't feel like it's gonna sort of like take away from the actual full setup as it was. So these are the pads, and I've got a second pad in here, and other bits and bobs, instruction manuals. I didn't want it to take away from what it was, obviously the official release of Star Fox 2 and stuff like that, but I realized that the best way to get all of them together, have my NES inside here, have my Mega Drive and all the games that I want, and all the games on the 32X that I want, like the really super expensive ones, have, you know, Game Gear running perfectly, the few games I want from there, the Game Boy Advance games, the few games I want to play from there. You know, I wanted to put them all into the system and have it all easy to play on a HD TV, and not have to sort of scatter around and try and plug up some of the older systems. I've got some of the older systems. I will put them up and set them up properly at some point, but because obviously I dabbled in a few EverDrives in the past, but I've always been trying to streamline my collection and have a certain setup where I can play most of my classic stuff, and also have them sort of like easily accessible, and only the best games that I can find, and get the best games I want to play. I don't want to play games. Time is limited, man. Time is so hard right now. So I need to make sure that if I'm going to play a game, it's obviously a highly rated game, or one that I remember playing from my childhood. So it's got a lot of nostalgia attachment to it, and also games that are, you know, that are really good, obviously, and good platformers. So this is why I got games like classics that I remember playing. And obviously I've added the hacked version, which actually has full color. And obviously another cool thing is that you got save state, so you can save state anywhere you want. And you know, I've got, as you can see, I've already got save states to like the final boss and final levels, because I completed this game and it was hilarious. Like, what Mario game has this sort of side-scrolling section? You know, just tell me about it. Like, which games have them? There's no Mario games like this, man. These classic Mario 1 and 2 on the Game Boy were brilliant, and it's just cool to have them now finally in a color format and be able to play them on the big screen in HD, by the way. And they're all running at 60 hertz. I put all the ROMs that I put in this game are all like American NTSC region games, so they are all running at 60 hertz and no borders and stuff like that. So obviously Warrior Blast and stuff like that. So those are the two games that started off. I put in the game, you know, the Castlevania Adventure and obviously Belmont's Revenge. They came with the collection of, I think it was a Konami collection, volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I put them inside, but I put the box out for the Castlevania because obviously I don't really care about the other collection games. I really want to play Castlevania in color, and they were officially released in Game Boy Color. So this is why I got it through here, and this is Castlevania. And you got Castlevania Adventure in color now. Only one that's in black and white I can see from here is Castlevania Legends, but that completes the Game Boy set. So I had to put that in there together, and I put the 3 set for the Pikachu, Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue together as well, just so that they're all together. And so let's move on. Quickly, just the Game Boy and the Game Gear. I put in the top 5 games. Got Mega Man games, you know, got Ninja Gaiden, Power Strike, Shinobi, and this is the Vampire Master of Darkness. This is a Castlevania clone for the Sega Mega Drive that they created, and it's for the Game Gear obviously over here. And yeah, I mean, it's a game that I put in 5 games here from the top list. I just wanted to just sort of max out the emulator for the Mega Drive. The Mega Drive emulator is brilliant because it plays obviously Game Gear, it plays a lot of like Master and the Mega Drive. It plays so many things, so it was cool to have them all together in one setup. And obviously the game here, obviously the there was a Mega Man for the Game Gear, so it's cool. So I thought I'd put that in. And these are all games that are action shooters and stuff like that, and you know, they seem really fun. And obviously the graphics here is like, obviously it's pixel perfect, so it just looks really cool to play. And this is the best way to sort of play these games, because you wouldn't want to play them on a Game Gear, man. They look really bad on the screen. So look at the bright colors of this, man. It just looks sick. And these are definitely games that I'm going to work my way through and play, because these are all the highly rated games for the systems that I put in here, and games that I know that I've gone through it and I've deleted a few boring games that I would never play, and I've made it the best I can possibly do. So I'm really proud of this collection and this setup. And yeah, so look, as you can see on the Game Boy Advance, I've put in the games I remember, as well as all the Castlevania games from the Game Boy Advance, the 3 from there. Really cool graphics. I'm gonna play them at some point. These I put them in there just so that it looks cool, because I've taken them out of the NES Classic, but I put in the Zelda 1 and 2 from the classic NES series on the Game Boy Advance, because just to complete the set, I've got the sort of Zelda games on here. But I'm going to play them on the Switch because they released them for the Switch Online, so I'm going to play them there. Gunstar Heroes, I've been playing that at the moment. I'm stuck on this bit at the moment, but I'm on the final boss at the moment actually. But it's a brilliant game. I'm so glad I managed to see. I didn't even know about these Castlevania. I don't even know about this Gunstar Heroes that was released on the Game Boy Advance. But to be honest, I would not play on the Game Boy Advance. But to play it here is like one of the best ways to play it. I mean, it looks brilliant, the graphics, and you get to enjoy it on the big screen. And it's simply done. There's no issues with sort of setting up the buttons on the PC emulator, stuff like that. You know, I know it's like almost like a Raspberry Pi, this setup with the Snes Classic, but you gotta bear in mind that it was a really cool, easy way to play a bunch of these emulators in one setup, and that was the goal for this, sort of have them all in one area. So that's really cool. You know, two Klonoa games. You know, I thought the Klonoa game on the PlayStation looks awesome, but I never could afford to buy it. It's so bloody expensive. But there's 2 Game Boy Advance ones which I would never play otherwise, unless do a setup like this, and you could actually enjoy 2 Klonoa games. I know they're going to be good, and the Game Advance got really good graphics as well. It's like pretty much like a SNES on the go. The Zelda Link to the Past, I've actually got that one over here. Where is it? Yes, I've got that one over here, and you know, it's like a bunch of these games I've sort of put them on there. Street Fighter Revival, got that over here somewhere. Here we go, you know, it's got Street Fighter 2 Revival. Had the alpha on here, but I removed it. Got the Mario and the Super Mario Advance. Minish Cap, I'm gonna start playing that one. I've got all the Zeldas that I need now. Putting the Metroid 1 and Metroid 2 originals from the Game Boy Advance series. So Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Fusion. Yeah, got Super Mario Kart Super Circuit. This is a really cool one that also got me into this modification. As you can see, I've already also named it specifically because you know, my OCD went nuts. I had to make sure that everything was perfect. Super Mario Bros. 3, all 38E reader levels and Snes palette. So this is all the classic Game Boy Advance. This is the Super Mario Advance 4 re-release of Super Mario Bros. 3. But what this specifically has is all the levels from the e-reader cards, which was the 38E levels. So as you can see at the bottom here, you got the level cards. And this was really cool, man. I had to get this. It's basically playing a remix version of all the classic levels, sort of like in a redone way. And they've also used elements from the previous Mario series, so the 1, 2 and 3. They've got weapons and stuff from those, and Mario World is all in this game. So it's a really cool I don't know what remixed version, essentially we can say, of so Mario Bros. 3. And you just basically get in here and you can see all the levels are here. I'm working my way through it, but you've got these all these pages here of different levels, and you can sort of play whichever one you want. And essentially it says Mario World E, and you got to complete the levels and sort of get them. And as you can see, they're sort of remixed, but I know a lot of them is based on Mario Bros. 3, starts off like that. So you get a really cool way of actually playing new levels, officially released. But you would not be able to play these otherwise unless you had it through this setup. And that's why I really like this setup at the moment, and because some of these games you will not be able to play otherwise, because I think this was released only on the Wii U Virtual Console, but up until that point it was unavailable everywhere. I think US only got like about a handful of the levels, and Japan got the rest of the levels, but it was on a system that was the e-reader cards for the Game Boy Advance, which never took off, and that's why all the levels were sort of lost for a long time. Anyway, so that's that, and that was another reason that got me into sort of making this setup and completing some of these games that I've not been able to play, like obviously the 38 levels. I've not been able to play that ever, so it'll be really fun to revisit those games and play the new levels that I've never been able to play. Master System, check out these games. A bunch of Alex the Kid, put them all in here. That took a while as well. Made sure that all the games were in order. Asterix, Castle of Illusion, Chuck Rock. These are games that I grew up with. Speed, Desert Speed Trap. Golden Axe Warrior is basically a Zelda 1 clone for the Master System 2, which obviously is what we had in Europe, and that's what we played, and that was fun. Land of Illusion, brilliant game. This was the third one, Legend of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse, only released in Brazil, so you would not be able to find that here. So this is the one, definitely a good way to actually play those type of games. Lion King had that, Lucky Dime Caper, Donald Duck, Ninja Gaiden, the Ninja, flipping, this was a hard game, man, I'm telling you. Fun to play though, but as you can see, it launches it through the Mega Drive emulator because it's a Master System game. And damn, this game just brings me back. So all these games here, so takes me back to when I was playing them back in the day when I was a kid. It's just, oh man. So this is the best way to appreciate these type of games, because at the moment my temporary setup is like I've not got all my consoles out at the moment fully set up, and it's a bit of a hassle to get them playing on the downstairs TV, because as you know, a lot of the new modern TVs doesn't have HDMI and doesn't have SCART connections, which is the RGB SCART. So unless you find a really good converter to HDMI, which I haven't been able to find yet, you sort of have to play it like this. So, and this TV accepts SCART input, so that's why I got it up here. But my other TV doesn't have it, so I could play that on my I think it's a 50-inch LG TV, 4K, so I can play that on that one and it'll be brilliant. I'm getting my ass whooped over here. Let's move on. Pitfire, Prince of Persia, I had all these games. Psycho Fox is a game from the list that I realized that was really good, so I need to revisit it. Rambo, we had that known as Secret Commando. Secret Commando, was it? Yeah, Secret Commando. Basically, it was this game, Rambo First Blood Part 2, but without the actual license. So they didn't have this cover, they had some other cover. But essentially, it's the same game because this is exactly the same game that we had in Europe. It was Secret Commando, branded as that, but it's pretty much the same game, just the opening sequence, I believe, and some of the, I think it will be just the cutscenes. So yeah, I only knew that. I didn't know about that until recently, so that was pretty cool to find that out. And actually, I'm going to get the American ROMs on here, so it's the best way to sort of play them how they were meant to be. Sonic Chaos 1, 2. This was my original introduction to Sonic. This classic Sonic right here. As you can see, it was very basic, but man, this brings me back, man. This was my very first sort of introduction into gaming, to be honest. One that I remember, there was another one that we had, I believe it was a Commodore 64, I think, but very faint memories of that one because I think the system had some issues, so it never worked properly and we weren't able to play any games. But this was the very first system that we played that my brother and sister bought for us, and we enjoyed a few games on here on the system, and it was freaking brilliant. But yeah, the Snes also has all the right amount of buttons, and they map it out using this Hakchi RetroArch emulation, and it sort of does everything for you, man. All the buttons are there, you know, you just load it up correctly and do the box art and stuff like that, and you're pretty much done. You know, it works straight out of the box. You can do save states, and you know, so you got save states here, and they work just as normal as well. Only thing I noticed is that the borders there's no border artwork, only happens on the Super Nintendo games. Everything else it doesn't. Teddy Boy Classic, Tom and Jerry the movie, Transport. So as you can see, you got Wonder Boy. I had to basically organize all the Wonder Boy in order. So I got Wonder Boy 1, 2 and 3, or 1, 2 and 4. As you can see, I got the names here, but I'll put WB 1, 2, 4 and Zillion 2 Trial Formation, one of my childhood games. I love that game. Then on to Mega Blast. All these games a lot of these games were from my childhood, pretty much. Only like the odd few that I wanted to put in here. I think that obviously complete the Wonder Boy series. I love that series at the moment. I've been playing it. I bought the Dragon's Trap on my Nintendo Switch. It's somewhere up there. But it was a remake for that game, and I sort of got into playing the Wonder Boy series. And from the Wonder Boy series, right, you would know that I think Wonder Boy 6 for the Mega Drive, it was actually only released in Japan, and the only way to play it here in UK is via emulation, because they released the English patch, English language patch, so you can play it here. So as you can see here, the continues here, I renamed it to Wonder Boy 3, Wonder Boy 3 Monsters Lair, Wonder Boy 5 and Wonder Boy WB6. So it follows the order of from the other previous Wonder Boy, because their naming convention was all over the place, so this sort of cleared it out for me, so I know exactly which order to play it in if I want to play them. But this one was Monster Boy Monster World 4 English language patch. I put the name in there, put the artwork in there with the Genesis box art. I do love the box arts. I picked up Mega Drive box art wherever I can, but in other times I've used Genesis box art because I think that they all look really cool, depending on obviously which one you go for. I avoided Japanese artwork most of the times because obviously I want the writing to be in English for the pictures, but obviously even getting the picture right was a tricky thing that I had to sort of make sure that was on point. But yeah, putting all the systems all the games that I know that you would need to have a emulation to play, you know, to play in the right language and all of that. And this game was freaking awesome, man. I started playing it. As you can see, it's in English. and just the music, the color, and it's all in English, and I just it's just such a fun game. And I was playing this and I got fairly far in it, and it's just been it's just a really cool game, you know. It's highly praised, this game. So obviously I found a lot of the games that from the Mega Drive as well, from the top 20, top 30 games, and I've looked through them and then the ones I want to play. And this completes my Wonder Boy series collection. So I thought I'll put this in here. And just the music was just so cool, you know, the gameplay is fun, and it's all in English as well, so I can now play it with save states as well. This guy talks for ages, man. Let's get into the game. So just, yeah, just so, such a cutesy style artwork, and yeah, you just, you know, sort of chill, and you can play this game. It's all set up now, you can play it, and there's no need to launch different emulations on a laptop and, you know, go through all of that process. It's the most sort of robust way to play all of these games in the correct way. It's meant to be played in English language for us to understand, so it's not, you know, some of these unreleased games, you can get them patched and have them all put on here. The patching took a while on some of these games, but I did work it out, and, you know, I got them all organized. A lot of the games from the Mega Drive announcement as well are brilliant, you know, the Mega Drive Mini, but I've actually cancelled my order for that because I realized the games that I wanted, I put them on here already, and some of the ones that I didn't, I looked at that list and then I sort of found it. Because I'll put all the Disney games in here, a lot of the Mickey Mouse games that I want to play, Castlevania, got them in here, Earthworm Jim's, you know, Castle of Illusion, you know, I played that growing up, so I'll put that in here. I've got them all down there somewhere, the physical copies, but it's just that some of these games, it's just impossible to sort of play them properly unless you have them on a sort of convenient way, and I think this is really cool to set this up. So yeah, man, I mean, it's a really cool setup. As you can see, got Rocket Knight Adventures and Rocket Knight Adventure 2 Sparkster. I know it says Sparkster, but I put Rocket Knight Adventure in front so that they sit together. Really cool series. I want to start playing them again. Genesis Snow Brothers, cool game. This one is really cool. It's got basically Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 all joined together with the expansion pack. So really cool ROM there that sort of has everything combined. And I put in games that I know that I don't have elsewhere. So this has Sonic, Knuckles and all together, and you can see that you can play with Knuckles as well. So you got Knuckles as well. So it's all set up, and I know that Sonic 3 wasn't available on the Sega Mega Drive collection for, you know, the Sonic Sega Mega Drive Classics for the Switch, which I got, and I didn't want to repeat any games, and also didn't want to repeat any games that I bought on eShop and stuff like that. So what I've done is that I've avoided putting in Sonic 1 and 2, but I put in Sonic 3, the full set, and anything that I have on my you know, say the Switch Classic collection, physical one, I thought I'll leave that there. And anything that I don't have, I'm going to put them on here. So I've got Splatterhouse 1 and 2, and I've got Splatterhouse 2 and 3 on here. And Splatterhouse 1, I know that I have that from the Namco Museum collection on the Switch, so again, it completes it there. Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition, that was announced as well, so I got that one here, brilliant. Strider 1 and 2, so this is one where I used the Japanese box art because I just thought it looked phenomenal compared to the American box art. Looks a bit naff in it, just some skinny guy, but this one just looks really cool, like a ninja. So I put them both together. Turtles, Hyperstone Heist, yeah, the X-Men games as well. The Aladdin one on the Mega Drive was brilliant. It had here he has a sword. It's a lot more cooler, I think, compared to the SNES one. I played them both, so I had them both. So what we've been through those, Sega32x, some of the ridiculous games that are stupidly expensive to get hold of, like Sonic Knuckle Chaotix. I always wanted to play that, but it's just stupid the amount of physical, for the physical price it's going for. And the 32x system as well. If I buy the 32x system, I'm going to have to modify it so that it runs in 60 Hz, which is going to cost a lot. and I'm going to buy the system as well, and I'm going to buy the actual box as well, because I usually have all my systems in boxes. So I just thought avoid all of that. I've got my Mega Drive here. It's a modified Mega Drive 2 right here, and you know, it plays. I got my Mega Drive EverDrive, and it could play Master and Mega Drive games, but I also got physical games for that. But I just thought avoid 32X. I'm glad I didn't bother buying it. And also what's really cool is that it just basically works on this SNES Mini, a 32X. Like, how cool is that? A 32X works on the SNES Mini. This is some powerful device, by the way. I watched the Digital Foundry for the review of the SNES Mini. It basically has a lot of benefits compared to the actual the NES Classic. Is so much more powerful. So it's cool that that this was available at the time. So I managed to get this setup done, and if I tried to do this on the NES Classic, it won't work because the button limitation as well on the controller is a bit naff in it. This one has way more buttons, has all the buttons you need. So every single system that I'm putting on here, the different systems, they will all have a way of functioning with this controller, and obviously it's already set up, so I don't need to deal with that. So this game, I always wanted to play it. I'm definitely gonna complete it. I'm working my way through the games that I have on this list, so don't worry about that. But now I've got a convenient way to play them. And again, I didn't want to load it up with 1,000 games, because who's going to play that? Whenever you see too many games on one system, like EverDrives can sort of, it becomes a bit overbit, you know. It becomes like Netflix syndrome, where you just look through, you can spend an evening just sifting through different programs and not end up watching anything, because there's just too many choices. And that's what I find with EverDrives and a big game collection. So I've tried to limit my collection to only, again, things that are like highly rated games that you like a must play, and you know, highly scored games that, you know, obviously like, you know, things like for the best 30 games of the Mega Drive ever and stuff like that, those lists, and games that are classics and games that I remember playing as well, and obviously staples as well. So that was a cool game that I'm gonna obviously work my way through. And these were the games, I think I put in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So I got Amazing Spider-Man here, The Web of Fire, stupidly expensive game. But yeah, just chuck it on here, and there's no need for me to even invest in that system, because I was thinking of buying it, and I just realized just a lot of this money goes towards these sort of systems that are unmodified, and to modify it, it costs so much. Nowadays the retro market has gone really expensive, so the convenient way of playing it like this, rather than having it on a laptop and launching emulations and, you know, doing a control every single time, the SNES Classic, it plays it brilliantly. Colibri, I think it's called. Colibri, Shadow Squadron, Star Wars Arcade, Tempo. These all look really cool. They're highly rated games of the 32X, because they don't much of a big list for the 32X. I think it's about a very small library. So a bunch of these games, and again, very rare in the UK as well. So a really cool way to get them all on there. Virtual Boy, by the way, was never released in the UK. It was in TSC region, and I think Japan as well. So I got the games here that I want to play. The highly rated games again: Jack Bros, Mario Clash, Mario Tennis, Panic Bomber. I'm not gonna play that. It's all red, hard to play. But it was a highly rated game, so I thought I'd put that on there. Telero Boxer and Warrior Land Virtual Boy. So I got all the Warrior Land games from the Super Mario Land 3 Warrior original game from there. Got the one from the Game Boy Color, and I got the Game Boy Advance one, and I got the Virtual Boy one. That one looks really cool, by the way. It plays really sick. So obviously Virtual Boy, you want me to find that here. If you do, you're gonna be paying a lot of stupid money. So some of these games here, there is no way of actually physically playing them, even if you wanted to. So it's really cool to have this setup where you can actually enjoy these games. A lot of these games, how would you set this up? Where would you find this, by the way? But look at this, it's like sharp. It's on a HD TV. You know, you got a SNES controller. You don't need to put your head on this little head setup, and you could enjoy these games. So I'm definitely going to play this game. I want to complete this game, but I'll put in the library, and you got save states as well, by the way. But I'll put the library in here, the ones that I know that are the main ones. And you got the Mario Virtual Boys, which were going to get forgotten unless I put them in here. And because the Mega Drive emulator can play Sega Game Gear, I thought I'd put that in there as well. And it's just you know, sort of completes all the handhelds from my era that I wanted to ever play. So obviously I got the Game Boy era that I played, but the Game Gear, I never owned that, and the Virtual Boy obviously never owned that. But it's really cool to have them both here, and you know, sort of have the setup all in one area. So yeah, all the systems start off, and then from there you go into the games, and you go into the system, and then you find the games. You can always, there's always the back folder where you can come back out there. So let's go to the NES, the final one. And as you can see, I've got loaded up with quite a few games from the bottom. You can see put in Bonk's Adventure to cover the TurboGrafx games, Mascot. Got all the Castlevania 1, 2 and 3. Definitely so the Surprise at Dinosaur Peak, that's a stupidly expensive game. A lot of these games I remember from what's it, the Game Chasers, watching them. So I got that now on here. Finally I can play these. Again, the best lineup from the NES games, I put them on here so that I can work my way through them and play some of the games that I've never played. And apparently these are like awesome games and really stupid prices now to find them. So if I'm going to play the games from this era, which is really hard to do, to be honest, it looks really basic. I personally remember the Master System. That's the one I grew up with. That's what most of people in the Europe grew up with, because obviously Master System ruled here and not the NES. That was more in USA. But having said that, obviously we played the Mario 1, 2 and 3 from the SNES, and a lot of the remakes came from the NES back onto the SNES, and they have a lot of sick games on here, so it's brilliant to play them. And I will work my way through them. Some of the games are brilliant, some of them do look a bit dated because obviously I don't have the nostalgia to it, but again, finding the best games from it. Got a little Samson on here, so you can launch and play that. Meant to be a really cool game, again stupidly priced, so a cool way to sort of enjoy a brilliant game, you know. Oh damn, I'm a dragon. Oh, look, it flies. So really cool platformers is what I was looking for. And I don't mind playing good platformers. So whoops, I died. So I don't mind playing really cool platformers on here. Got Mega Man 4, 5 and 6 because I put Mega Man The Wily Wars on the Mega Drive as well, which again was like a really obscure release, so it's really cool to have that on here. And that was the remake for 1, 2 and 3, so I deleted 1, 2 and 3 from the NES. I know some people might not like that, but I don't want to duplicate games, so I sort of made sure that it's streamlined and I don't repeat any games as well. Mighty Final Fight, that's the one when they're all tiny and stuff. Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Super Mario Brothers 1, 2 and 3, Turtles in Time. Got the back folder, you can go back, and that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much all the systems showcased. I hope you enjoyed that video. Yeah, so this was basically just an overview of my Hakchi modification on my SNES Mini. SNES Classic is what they call it. And do let me know in the comment section below if you want to see how this was done, how the modification was done. But it took me ages, man. I mean it was quite a straightforward process, but to go back into it, because little things like the artwork had to be adjusted, certain artwork on games. The game didn't run, I had to make sure that they are working. But all in all, it was quite straightforward, but a lot of tinkering until now I'm done. I'm not going to touch it anymore. I've backed everything up that I needed to back up, and I'm not going to touch it no more. I think I've got the best games here, a lot of games to play, over 200 games to play. So, and it's the best of the best of the 8-bit era, the 16-bit era, and yeah, and the handheld eras from back in the day, everything prior to Game Boy Advance and prior, basically. So yeah, and from my favorite systems of all time, you got the Sega, you got Nintendo, and you've got Well, that's all you really need, isn't it? From that era, you don't need no Atari stuff, and I don't go that far back. Forget that stuff. But yeah, and Sega CD. I didn't go. Oh, sorry, and Sega 32x. I didn't go for Sega CD because that needs a BIOS, and I didn't go for PlayStation because I don't want to go to that era. I'm gonna keep everything prior to that era, so right up to the SNES and the Mega Drive, and below that. You can say 32x is basically the add-on for the Mega Drive, which was matching the PlayStation time at the time graphics, but it works without a BIOS. So I just thought I'd chuck that in there and put the games in there, because again, some of the games on there are ridiculously hard to find. And yeah, Sega Mega Drive 32x got the artwork correct. Had to make sure that they were perfect. The Virtual Boy artwork. I'm really proud of this setup, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the rundown of it as well. So do hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate all of my subscribers. Thank you very much for that. I do a lot of videos and a lot of reviews, and so do check out my previous videos and a lot of tech reviews as well. And I will be doing videos on the actual 8-bit DO controllers and the receivers as well. I just have to get around to doing it. I haven't had a chance at the moment. A lot of backlog for videos at the moment, but I will be working on it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that video. Until next time, take care guys. This is Mac. Peace out.